Cheshvan marks the Hilula of a really great Tunisian rabbi. His name was Rabbi Natan Borjil Z Tzadik Livracha. He was actually born in the English year 1720 and passed away in 1791 in Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan. This was, we're talking about from time recording about more than 230 years ago. One of the great rabbis from Tunisia. He lived at approximately 71 years of age and became one of the great rabbis, let's say the Gadol Ador in of itself, of Tunisia. He will have a position as Av Bet Din, the head of the Jewish court. I'll be the rabbi of rabbis of Tunisia and the author of a great Torah book called the Chag Natan, also, which was, I think, a book based on the Seder Kodshim. So let's explore some of the highlights of the great rabbi's life. So he was born in Tunis. This was, as we stated before, in the year 1720. I believe this is the main capital city of Tunisia in of itself. And he learned under auspices of many great rabbis, including Rabbi Avraham Tayyib, who was also popularly known as the Baba Sidi. Also Rabbi Yitzchak Lombroso, who is a rabbi we've spoken about just recently. He himself passed away in the year 1752. He happened to be the Zera Yitzchak, probably known as, and Rabbi Masud Raphael El-Fasi, another great darshan. He was a posek halacha, he was a Kabbalist, the head of Jewish courts, so he really was surrounded by rabbanim of the highest caliber. And he was only 18 years of age. He was appointed by his Rabbi Masud, to actually be crowned as a dayan, a judge in Tunis. Very prominent position, just showed the genius and the high level this great rabbi was in of itself. Then I believe in the year Taf Kuf Lamed Daled, he received together along with other rabbis, including Rabbi Yosef HaKohen Tanuji and Rabbi Yosef Zraka, who happens to be, I think, the author of the Od Yosef Chai, if I'm not mistaken. They actually were able to encounter, or let's say have the honor of meeting the famous Chida, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulay. I believe this happened to be at a time when there was a shlichut taking place, a traveling in of itself, and it's actually reported over the Chida actually really paid him various different lavish compliments in of itself, which was, remember, the Chida himself was extremely well traveled, as we've mentioned before in previous videos. And he named him among the greats even, and just stated how much of a unique rabbi he was, and how special he was among the rabbis, let's just say, of the vicinity of world Jewry even. Really, really high compliments. It says, Ir v'kadish, Yachad umiyuchad shrabanei Tunis. Really compliments and equates him to the top level rabbis of Tunis in of itself. Then in the year Tafkuf Membab, he would be appointed as the head of the Jewish court there, as we say in Hebrew, the Av Bet Din, the head of the Jewish court. And he would actually, I believe, write, I think inside his Sefer, he actually illustrates over that. You know, there were troubleships in his life. Things were difficult on the various different occasions that, in a nutshell, and really spoke about various different things that actually occurred in his life. And that I would recommend everyone to research on and read his book, the introduction, a bit of homework for everyone out there. Okay, and I believe in the introduction in his Sefer, he writes the difficulties maybe he suffered throughout his life. And I believe in the year Tafkuf Memchet, he would actually move to Yerushalayim, to Jerusalem, make Aliyah. In of itself, in those days, it wasn't a Medinat Israel, but many people were still coming from all over the various countries to have a portion in the land of Israel. And I think in his place as a, let's just say, this prominent rabbinic position he had, Rabbi Shlomo ben Rabbi Masud Al-Fasi, if I'm not mistaken, would take the position. And was very, very interesting enough. And more can be related within regards to the rabbi. He would stay in Jerusalem for 4 years until his passing, and he would be buried in Har HaZeitim. Har HaZeitim naturally is called the Mount of Olives burial plot, where we've spoken about before. Now, one thing's got to be actually explained over within regards to the great miraculous stories within regards to the rabbi, which I would recommend everyone. Apparently, one time he fell ill and was cured by a miracle of Rabbi Masud, if I'm not mistaken. It's a famous story which I would recommend everyone to look into. It just shows the greatness of Rabbi Masud, his rabbi in of itself. And another interesting story, actually a miracle that occurred, I think, at the time when he was actually making Aliyah to the land of Israel. He was in a ship, he was in a boat. And at that point in time, there was a hole inside. I'm not sure if it was the foundation of this ship or anything else, but it was a massive risk of it drowning at a quick rate. And he performed a miracle, reported over. This hole in of itself was closed, and let's just say the wind subsided, and they survived. And people in the ship weren't Jewish, and they realized, they saw the astounding miracles what the great rabbi had performed, and they reported over had converted to Judaism, which is absolutely amazing story over there, which I think is well documented. Okay, among his children included Rabbi Eliyahu Chai and Rabbi Abraham Chaim. Among his son-in-laws included Rabbi David Tayyib, who happened to become the judge or Dayan in Tunis, and Rabbi Yehuda Shamama, who was also another very great rabbi. Among his grandchildren included Rabbi Natan Borjil Z, a great rabbi named after him, but Sheni as opposed to Rishon. He himself took on the piece as Rishon. So he was, let's just say in of itself, a head rabbi, chief rabbi of Tunis. It's actually interesting, he had the book, the Torah, amazing work called the Chok. Natan, who was one of the great books on Seder Kodshim. This was in of itself, it taught various different teachings on Seder, on the books of Kodshim in of itself, and various different Masechtot also in the Talmud Bavli. I think it was printed various perushim, various, let's just say in of itself, teachings. Rabbi Eliyahu Mizrahi ala Torah. I think he wrote a great commentary, a Torah work within regards to that, if I'm not mistaken. There was Chidushim on the Rambam, on the Pri Chadash, the famous rabbi. I think he was from the Netherlands, or he lived there one stage. And I believe it was first printed, his book, in Livorno. And I think over there, Livorno itself had a huge printing press at that point in time. And I think his son also had a great Torah colossal work out, including the Magdalot Natan, if I'm not mistaken. And so the printing seemingly was done inside Vilna. And here, friends, much more can be related with him. It's a bit of homework for you to research about the great rabbi. And it's his Hilula here on Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan, Rabbi Natan Borjil Z, one of the great rabbis from Tunisia. Remember, at that stage in time, especially in the 1700s, Tunisia had a very flourishing and great Torah community. A lot of yeshivot, Talmidei Chachamim, Rosh Yeshivot, Rosh Kollels over there, which has been pointed out. Friends, we're a community here. We've covered around 470 rabbis of yesteryear. We want to do much more material. Please like the videos, share the videos, and drop me a comment. Also, please give me a comment. Always good to hear feedback. I'm wishing you blessings here from Israel. So take care, everyone, and have a great day.